Thanks for joining us online. I love AV. And thank you. Big shout out to Ulysses who got all the equipment and brought it here. I see we have people from all over. I just saw Puerto Rico. So I'm in Greensboro, Georgia with the famous Bill Oehme. And we're pretty excited. We've always threatened him that we were coming.
No, the threat is real.
And you know what? Even the rain held off. So welcome. My name is Debbie Worthington, and I'm one of your hosts today. And we are here at a property that you guys probably saw a flyer that said, how do you buy a property for $4,000 that's worth over, it keeps climbing by the moment.
It's 123 now.
Wow. Pretty cool.
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress. Okay. So we're going to get started. We're going to walk through. We're going to learn some things. I'm going to turn my camera around if I can figure out how on Zoom. Maybe I'm not going to. Oh, here I go. There you go. I got you, Bill. All right. I know. The bling.
The bling. The landlord bling.
As I'm trying to work, I'm on my phone with the batteries about to die. My daughter's sending me foreclosures in Fort Lauderdale. I'm like, get off my phone, do it later. All right, so this is the outside of the property. We're so excited. For those of you that don't know, we're a nationwide group of real estate investors. We even have a sign, we're not as property tour. And so there's people on this line from all over the country. We're all one big team. And this property is actually famous. We talk about this on our Thursday night. For those of you that have never met Mr. Bill Oehme, he's Mr. Cash Flow. So he cash flows about $25,000 a month. And he's not kidding. He must say that word to me at least 2 or 3 times a day. And no matter what I'm talking about. Now I know what he says when his wife says, we have to talk about real estate again. I know. So I'm super grateful that he reminds me every day, because a lot of my real estate transactions have been transactional. So now I'm working on cash flow. So this is the outside of the property. And I don't know, Bill, if you want to just give a little history on this or what our plan is.
Yeah, we're going to go inside. We're going to do a tour. But guys, what we're looking at here is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, double wide. Okay, about 1,600 square feet. And we're going to talk about how I found this property and a couple ways for you to find properties at huge discounts. So in this case, don't tell anybody. I bought this property for $4,000. Okay?
Wow.
And it's worth, I think Zillow says about 122 right now. But we're going to show you how you can make $250,000 on a $4,000 investment. So you're not going to learn.
Did you say $250,000?
Don't tell everybody.
Okay.
Keep it just for the club here.
Okay. Do you want to show the rest of the outside before we go in and you guys do your show? Because I'm going to turn you over to one of the guys when we get in.
Okay. Well, it's really simple. I mean, just a basic house, and it's on a city lot.
What does that mean? City lot?
As in, 1/8 of an acre, maybe not even 1/4 of an acre. But the nice thing about city lots is you have what? You have city water and you have city sewer. So you don't have to deal with the hassles of septic tanks and wells, which is a common thing in a rural area, right? If you're out in the county and you don't have those city services, now you have to have your own septic tank and your own well. That's about $20,000 worth of infrastructure.
No, I think they're having trouble hearing us, so you may have to repeat this when we get inside.
Oh, okay.
So,
am I not talking loud enough?
Well, that's unusual, isn't it?
That's unusual.
I'm kidding. All right.
So you can see here, really, guys, it's just a lot of it still has big trees on it, which we may cut some of those trees down over time. But for now, it doesn't matter. The tenants don't care. So what you care about is, what do the tenants value? In my case, there's such a shortage of housing that if I could find 10 properties like this, I'd have them rented out over a weekend. Because I get so many calls from people that are like, hey, I need a place to stay, and there's just nothing available.
And that's what we need is more.
We need more. We're
More.
going to talk about why that is. And this is a national phenomenon. We're going to talk about why there's a shortage of rental houses also, and how important it is right now for you to start picking up these cash flowing properties. Okay?
Yes.
So this, if you've ever seen my presentation, this is the window that I got into wearing my bling thing to take possession of the property. Because we bought this under a tax deed, and when you buy a tax deed, you don't get a key to the front door. You have to get into the property whatever way you can. So you can break a window, hire a locksmith, whatever you need once it's yours. In this case, we found the window that was ajar, and we opened it, and we went in, and then we changed the locks. So we didn't have to break a window or anything. But that's, if you buy something, foreclosure, tax deeds, a lot of times you don't get keys to the front door. So you
And
gotta figure it out.
I was here, I think, and you thought it was a 3-bedroom, right?
Yeah, when we had the tax deed, we assumed it was a 3-1 or a 3-2. And it wasn't until we went in the property and we saw it was a gorgeous 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. And you know what? I probably could have found that out on Zillow, because I think Zillow has it right, but I never looked up Zillow. I never thought of that, right? Battery going dead?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up and get you inside.
Okay,
Let me
let's
turn
get
you over
inside.
to the guys.
But this is the backyard, which is just a modest backyard. It has a nice little storage shed, and you can see the roofing because we put a brand new metal roof on
Okay.
it, right? So we have a couple pieces left over, maybe for a doghouse or maybe for the shed. But we took the time to put it. I love metal roofs because a metal roof will last forever. So even if it's a little more expensive than a shingle roof,
I like the sound of rain on a metal roof.
well, since I'm not living in the house, I don't know.
So
But
I think.
that's a great idea.
Hi, guys. Sorry, I jumped the gun and just started taking a tour
The
outside.
folks have followed us outside,
Yeah.
here, so that's okay, right?
And a nice little deck.
Nice little
Covered.
deck, right? And the idea being is it's a place for people to start. So many people don't have the possibility of owning a house, and they can actually create their own, their own homestead. And that's the beauty of this place. We're gonna have a nice family that's
And
gonna actually
achieve home ownership
Yep.
at some point.
That's the goal.
That is
Achieve home
amazing.
ownership.
That is awesome. I love it. So we're going to go back in, and I'm going to turn Bill over to the Ulysses and Daniel inside, and we're going to continue this conversation.
If anybody needs any tires, I got some extra.
Oh,
tires.
okay. Yeah, we have some tires if you guys need some tires.
And some jumper cables.
Yeah.
You need some jumper cables. You wouldn't believe what you get in a house. I have found so many crazy things in a house when you take possession of it, like a foreclosure or a tax sale, or even just an estate. I mean, I've gotten pianos.
Wow.
I tried to get one that had a Mustang. It had like a '65 Mustang, but the kids who inherited the property took the Mustang out of the
Oh,
deal.
wow.
But I almost got a Mustang.
I have gotten a car a couple times, but no Mustang.
Almost got a classic car. It didn't work out.
All right, I'm going to turn you over to these guys and plug my phone in. All right, you guys got to get Bill on
We
camera.
need to do a tour of the house. A little bit about why. I'm gonna have a lot of echo, I think. Okay, so why little houses? Where am I? Is there the camera? Okay, so why the little houses are such a powerful investment? Okay.
Jackie's saying no sound.
Second here.
Okay, I may have to take this off because I'm hearing myself a second later.
No, you just,
I'll turn my volume down.
no, just pocket it in your pocket. And then when you're ready, we'll do it because you're coming up.
It's okay now.
Can
you hear 'em?
I take stuff. You got it? Okay. So let me write some stuff down. Okay, so there's lots of different ways to make money in real estate. And you guys, this may be review for some people. There's wholesaling, there's fix and flip, there's buy and hold, and there's money lending. But buy and hold is the first level where you start creating wealth. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about with the Renata's classes, creating wealth instantly. So in this world, let's say, and I bought, this is a tax deed. Okay, we're going to talk about different ways that you can buy properties at a huge discount. But in this case, $4,000 bought the tax deed on this property. Okay, and what does a tax deed do? A tax deed means that in Georgia, you have to hold the property for a year. So you can't do anything with it because the person who lost the property didn't pay the taxes has a 1-year right of redemption. But after that year, if they don't redeem it, you get the property. If they do redeem it in Georgia, I think it's 20%. You get a 20% premium. So if somebody redeemed this, they would have to pay me what, $4,800 to get the property back until that year is up. Okay. But here's the cool thing. On Zillow, the property is worth about $123,000. So $4,000 turns into $123,000. So I don't know, what's that? That's $119,000, but it's like a 20 times this. Almost 30 times this. Okay. So what you're talking is you're talking about turning into a 30x investment. The cool thing is that's instantly. Okay, we're not talking about you buy it and hope that inflation comes along or the Federal Reserve or anything like that. I'm talking about you create your own wealth simply by buying the property at a discount. So this was an extreme example, obviously, but even if you're buying regular rental houses for $30,000 and you get them, they're worth $60,000, you're making $30,000 in wealth instantly. Okay, so that's the way I want you to think about rentals. Investors don't buy properties at retail value, they buy them at a discount. Okay, then you're going to create value with a property like this. So in this case, somebody's going to rent it, right? So somebody's going to rent it. I don't know. In my case, my tenants are going to rent this for $1,100 a month. $1,100 a month. So let's figure out what we're going to make on this property over 10 years. This will blow your mind. Okay. So we're looking at $1,100 a month. Let's say that nets $1,000 a month. Taxes and insurance, knock $1,000 off a year. So we're at $1,200 a year. So let's say you're going to make $1,200 a year, and that's rent. In my world, all of my tenants have the opportunity to buy the property. Okay, they all have the possibility, they all have the opportunity, they all have the potential. They don't guarantee, but they have the possibility to buy the property. So what we'll do is we'll give them an option. In my case, my tenants have the option to buy this property for $140,000 today. Okay, but look at the 10-year collective or cumulative money that you're going to make on this. If you do 12 times 10 years, that's $120,000. 120, 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, plus 140. So this is a $260,000 investment over 10 years. Your head should explode. Okay, you should have a headache right now. But this is the potential. Remember, this isn't your dad's rentals. Okay, this is using education, using coaching from people that are doing it the right way rather than just doing it. Okay?
Question.
Yeah.
All this is, read the question, Ulysses.
Right, so we got a question from Rob saying, all this is with the property as is or fixed up?
This is the amazing part. People that are renting this property, they said, you know what, we want this deal so much, we'll fix it up. All you gotta do is put a roof on it, which I was gonna put the roof on it anyway. But don't put any carpet in it, don't put any flooring in it. don't paint it, just fix it up so it's sound. We're gonna put our own carpet and paint in it. I mean, what's the catch, right? Now, and I'm gonna tell you this, the conversation, come, you gotta watch my class, okay, first of all. But also come to the workshop next weekend and we're gonna talk about this. So when the tenant comes in to see the property, there's a whole dance that takes place, okay? The most important thing, and it's a good question about fixing it up, right? The most important phrase that I want you to remember is, what do you want to do about it? So, and this is my experience all the time. When I was younger in this business, I would assume I knew what people wanted. I would assume I knew my tenants are like, oh, they probably want new carpet, and they probably want appliances, and they probably want new paint and all this sort of thing. But I learned that you ask people what they want. And when I ask them, it's amazing how often what they want is so much less than what I thought they wanted. You know what they want? They want the opportunity to actually own the place. They want to have a place they can call their own. And this is all in the class, but without me, and I'm just saying without the proposal that I put together, the package I put together, they wouldn't have that opportunity. And the story is I could rent this place out 10 times over. If I could find 10 more places like this, I'd have them rented out in a day. And again, it's because of the marketplace. And we'll talk about the marketplace a little bit more, especially next Saturday. If you come to the thing next Saturday, we're gonna do like 3.5 hours of little houses. But there is so much demand. I've never seen, I've been doing this for 22 years now. I've never seen so much demand. And I'll give you the reasons why real quick. One, all the prices of properties have gone up dramatically. What's happening is the landlords are dumping the tenants, they're moving the tenants out, and they're selling the properties for a big windfall. So Joe landlord who bought the property for $30,000, all of a sudden you get 150. He's like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm taking 150. I'm moving to Florida. Okay. And what that does is that takes inventory off of the market. So there's less houses. Second, the builders can't afford to build houses for the average American. The average American, again, I have to be a student of this business, and Renata's taught me this. The average American family earns about $60,000 a year for a family of 4. That's 2 people making $13, maybe $14 an hour at Walmart, Best Buy, Hilton hotels. In other words, service sector jobs. That's the median income. That means half the population is making less than that. Nobody is helping those people. Everybody's looking for the high end. But yet you have 100 million people that nobody's helping them. Nobody's creating value. But you can be the person creating value for them. Third, how many people have come across the border this year in Mexico? 2 million?
3 million.
3 million? Do they all need houses? Yeah. Everybody's got to have a roof over their head and a door that locks. So the builders can't build. There's a police officer out there, Mike. Okay? Okay, he's okay.
Here he comes.
I was worried about the parking situation. No, but the 3 things. One, the landlords are pulling the properties out of the rental market. What was the second one that I said? Oh, they can't build them, right? The builders can't build affordable housing. And the third thing is immigration. There might be a 4th or a 5th. But I'm just paying, and remember, I'm learning this as I'm talking to people that want to rent the houses. I have people every day that call me up 2 to 3 times a day. And they're like, hey, I got your name from so-and-so. Is there any way you can help me find a house like you did for Bobby or for Jimmy? Just a million different scenarios. Who's gonna call me for that? Oh, we're okay. Just lost my train of thought because I thought I was gonna have to like hide out from the cops or something. I know what's going on. Okay, so huge opportunity, and this is across the country. So I'm just talking about Georgia right now. but imagine the rest of the country of what's needed, okay? So, is that a good explanation? You with that? Okay, so that's sort of a short version of why little houses are so powerful. And here's the other thing that happens with little houses. If we have a recession, let's say we have a terrible recession, the population is going to be down, like everybody gets crushed downward. So the people that used to be able to afford $1,500 a month, yeah, they can't do that anymore. They can only afford $1,100. But the 1,100 people can afford $600. So there's more people available for your little house. It's like during 2008 when we had the crash, I had tremendous demand because people that were losing their properties, they're losing their mortgages, they still needed a place to live. And believe me, they had money, but they couldn't get a bank loan, couldn't get finance, so they needed something other than a traditional purchase of a property. And it's a great business. That it? So did I answer the question? The question was the rework, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you learn is learn to ask what needs to be done because your tenant is your customer, and you want the customer. What matters is what's in the eyes of your customer, not what you think is important. Okay. So if you can save money and deliver more value to your customer, it's a win-win. And it's amazing how often this "what do you want to do about it" thing works out. I have so many stories of that. Okay, so what else we got? Anything else?
If we need to go over the property, go around.
Go look at the property? Okay.
Hold on.
And while we're doing this, I want you guys to look. If you come to the classes, I want you to think about the different ways you can find properties at a discount. Okay. So there's, I don't know, 10 or 20 ways, right? There's buying properties at a discount, tired landlords, foreclosure, bankruptcy, tax deeds, incarceration. I bought properties that people are going to jail. Okay. There is, what else? Probate, right? Folks that die and now their kids are on properties. Okay. I will tell you, I was thinking of this when I drove over here. My favorite way to buy properties is not having to deal with the property owner. I don't have to convince the property owner to sell me the property at a discount. So what ways in that do you get to buy a property where you're not directly dealing with the property owner? Some suggestions. Auctions, right? So if you're doing an auction, you're not dealing directly with the property owner, okay? Especially if it's a forced auction. So like a foreclosure, okay? Tax deeds is another auction, right? So if I'm buying a property from a tax deed, I'm not negotiating, I'm negotiating with the county, okay? And by the way, I always prefer to buy tax deeds without owner occupants. Because again, I don't want to take people's properties away. I want properties that are already abandoned or nobody's in them. Just, it's easier that way. Probate, right? So if you're buying a property in probate, by definition, the former owner is not here anymore. So there's an opportunity for you. How about REOs? Right? So those are bank-owned properties. Those are properties that already went through a foreclosure auction. And usually they're vacant, and you're dealing with a disinterested bank. They don't care about the drapes in the house and how the carpet is, 1970s shag carpet and how wonderful it is, and how they raised their kids in this property for 30 years and there's so much sentimental value. None of that happens with REOs, right? Buying rentals from landlords, right? So if you're doing with tired landlords, I'm going to just say tired landlords. So landlords, it's a business, it's a number, right? They're not living in the property, they didn't raise their kids there, the dog's not buried in the backyard, there's no sentimental component there. They're like, okay, I got some properties, I want to retire, I probably made a lot of money. You'd be surprised how many times when you buy a property from a tired landlord, it's not just about the price. They might just have to like you. I'm not kidding. you get somebody that's 80 years old, they got tons of money. They're not there to get every dime out of the property. They might just look at you, especially if you're creating value for others. They might be like, you know what, I'd rather sell it to you than this guy over here who's just a greedy person. Happens all the time. Plus, you know what happens to tired landlords is you get multiple properties, right? So you get, what would be a sign? I'm just gonna say, I don't know, multiples, XXX. So you get one property from a landlord, all of a sudden it's like, hey, you got any other properties? Well, yeah, I got 8 more properties. Oh, let's talk about all 8. And there's a huge benefit from that landlord. Like, look, I don't want to sell them individually. Make me an offer on 8. And what most landlords, if they've had the property for a long time, how much debt do they usually have on the properties? None. They might have them free and clear. So are they perfect candidates for seller financing? So you don't have to go to a bank? They're perfect, right? So all of this comes into play, and you can figure out where you want to work in this area and what you're, where you're able to create the most value. That's really what it comes down to. So you got to create value for the tenants. You got to create value for the sellers. You got to create value for your lenders. If people are lending on your deals, your investors, you got to create value for them. You got to create value for the community. Right, so you may pick up houses that normally would be derelict houses, and now all of a sudden you're turning them into productive houses with a nice family living in that house, and the county commissioners are like, hey, this is pretty good, right? Because now they don't have as much crime, and everybody's happy because the property values are going up. So there's another example.
Got a question from John.
Yeah.
He says, do they do background checks when you buy a property tax deed?
You know what they do a background check on?
You want to show?
If you got some of this. You could be a Martian with horns sticking out of your head. If you got certified funds, they don't care. I've never had anybody, no, they don't care. It's that simple. And now think about it, and I want you to think about it. The purpose of a tax sale is the county has to get their money. They've already budgeted a certain amount of money for the police department, the fire department, the librarians. And if property owners aren't paying their money, then they've got bills to pay. So that's why the county doesn't mess around. The county's like, look, we're selling your property unless you pay the taxes. There's no come up with a good excuse, sad story. They don't care. So there's opportunity. Any other questions?
Okay, let's see.
Let's do walk around and then come back for
Okay.
questions. So Bill, when you walk around, I would be curious to know, what are you done in here, or what else is gonna happen?
That's gonna get fixed. The ceiling had some water damage, so we're fixing the water damage. So we put a new roof on it already, but the water damage now has to be fixed. So that's a couple pieces of sheetrock
Okay,
and some insulation. You see, we fixed the floor because the floor was damaged from the
Yeah.
water damage.
okay,
And interesting point, I had to hold this property for over a year because of the rules, right? And in the meantime, there was a leaky roof. It killed me to know that it was leaking and damaging the house.
you could do nothing.
I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I really couldn't work on it legally, and liability wise, I couldn't get insurance on it. Debbie was too, of course, she wouldn't give me an insurance policy on a property I didn't own.
No.
But I promised her I was buying it.
I
Said,
said
no,
no.
Liberty Mutual with the emu, they're not gonna go for that. You gotta own the darn thing. So, yes,
Bill, a question. So even with you having the certificate, or, at that time, as far as not being able to exercise it, they wouldn't even, the county wouldn't even let you just say, like, do a roof, because I assume nobody was here.
yeah,
The
but,
problem
okay, but
is
think about
especially
it.
with the
There's a right of redemption sitting on the property, right? How much money do you want to put into a property and then have somehow get it redeemed?
No, and I do understand as far as for that, but I think that would have been minor just in case, as far as thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, look, if a tree had hit the place and I wanted to put money into it, nobody's gonna care, right? But it's a risk to me because I don't have title to the property.
Right.
So, how much money do I want to put in hoping that everything goes the way it's supposed to go? There's a decision to be made there, right?
Right, well, that's why I was just thinking from the minimal standpoint,
Yeah.
you know, of that board, just knowing what you were coming into, you know, for that, so.
And I will tell you, here's the interesting thing about this deal, which this is a little bit sophisticated here, but I bought the tax deed on the land. I didn't have the tax deed on the trailer. That one thing, that meant nobody else wanted to bid on this. They didn't understand what was possible.
Right.
So when the county commissioner said, or the county tax auction person said, this is only a tax deed on the land, it's not a trailer, everybody else pulled back from bidding. But I've been through this before, and I know that if you get the tax deed on the land, there's a very good chance you're gonna get the trailer for free. And that's what ended up happening. And that's a spectacular.
That is.
Well, yes, absolutely.
So for people who don't necessarily understand the tax situation and tax liens in Georgia, what if you had not, what would have happened if you didn't receive the land?
But
If they
if I
don't,
didn't get title to the
just
trailer.
explaining tax liens to
Oh.
people. So you were safe. If you didn't receive it, if it didn't work out, they paid their taxes.
Oh, okay, so they didn't redeem it, which they didn't. So here's a question for you guys.
What if they did?
Okay, but what scenario when you buy a property, is there like a 0 chance that they're gonna redeem it?
Expiration,
No.
someone expired.
Exactly, an estate, right? This was an
Right,
estate.
okay.
So what's the odds? Now, listen, if they do redeem it, I got a better story.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's like a big story if they redeem it, okay? But no, it was an estate. So we love when we're buying properties from the state because the odds of them redeeming it, even their heirs redeeming it, are very small. Okay, and there's.
But even if somebody did, the
I mean,
way
if
the
somebody
tax
did in
is, your
Georgia-
money is safe.
Yeah, you get 20%.
Right,
So if I bought it for $4,000, they would have to pay me $4,800 for me to deed it back. to them.
yeah, so it's.
So yeah, it's a no-lose situation.
Only thing we're gonna have you do is just carry that.
I feel like Walter Cronkite. Remember on the news show? And that's the way it is.
All right, we got another
I
question.
have to walk around with all this stuff.
From John. John says, would you need an attorney to close out a property tax deed?
The answer is,
Or auction
you
house?
don't have to, but I use an attorney. Because the $500 I pay the attorney, I know that there's no glitches. I know that, it's like for $500, it's definitely worth it. Okay,
Okay, all right.
okay,
Lead the
Just
way.
one other question.
yeah.
Okay.
Every house has a repair value when you walk into it, right? Like, after you buy it. Do you section how much money you're going to spend on repairs before or after? You know what I mean? Like if you see a property, you get the property, have you already budgeted in your head what I'm going to spend?
Yeah, I mean, I know, a couple $1,000s here, a couple $1,000s there. If it's something big, I might bring my contractor over to give me an estimate and say, I don't like to buy properties that need lots of rehab. Guys, if you're starting out, try to find properties that don't need a lot of rehab. That's your biggest risk. Because you're going to come in here and you're going to be all optimistic and you're going to think it's $10,000 worth of rehab, and it's going to be $40,000 worth of rehab. And your whole numbers go to, they go to mush. So I would much rather, if I'm going to buy a property, let's say my limit to buy a property is $25,000. I'd rather buy a property for 20 that needs $5,000 worth of rework than something for $5,000 that needs $20,000 worth of rework. Because I am not good enough to estimate it. And then I put, that burden on my contractor. And then you guys that are fixing flippers, the worst thing in the world is, Mr. Oehme, can you come over and look at this for a second? Oh, what? Well, there's a nuclear power plant waste dump under the trailer here, and they've been dumping isotopes since the 1930s, and our Geiger count, what? Where did that come from? And now it's yours. It's your monster, right? So I am looking for, and the other thing is little houses, there's not much stuff that can go wrong. Right? You're buying expensive houses that have swimming pools and central air conditioning systems and granite countertops and, all this crazy crap that could be wrong. In a basic house, you've got a roof, you've got an electrical system, you've got a plumbing system. I mean, that's about it, right? I mean, maybe a central air system, which I even like central air. I'd rather have volume because it's not me. My tenants don't like central air because they don't want to pay for the utilities to run the central air with central heat. And I learned that. I did the same thing.
They called us last month. They told me with heat.
With heat?
Yeah.
So you put a central air system in?
Yeah, he had one, and then they called us, like, hey, there's no hot air, and I'm like, yeah, which is.
Did you ask them?
That's exactly right.
Is that what you asked them?
That's what I did. And they're like, I'm gonna have my handyman come over tomorrow. So the handyman went over. I thought it was broken, and he said, no, it's fine. It's just that you haven't gotten gas to it because it was gas.
Oh yeah, you got to pay for the gas, right?
And then she called me and she was like, you know what? I don't think we want to pay for gas. We're just gonna put it on. And I was like, oh, that's the bill story. He's not lying.
And so they bought a $35.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't even know what they bought, right? It wasn't your problem. Guys, I'm telling you, you got to be a student of your customer. It's so often you think you know. I mean, I don't like dishwashers in my houses, okay? No one will ever pay me $1 more if there's a dishwasher. Garbage disposals. Garbage, you know what I get garbage disposal? I got to go and take somebody's Barbie doll out of it on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Right? Because some kid rammed a Barbie doll or something down it. There's no value in that to people, right? So all of this sort of thing, you know, what matters to the customer? That's what matters. I'll give you a quick one. I have so many. You got to come to my thing next week. Okay, I got so many stories.
We have to tell them what that is.
The workshop. Okay,
We'll
we'll do it at the end. But I had a house just recently. I bought this beautiful house. I show it in my presentations. The brick house. Did I say the perfect brick house? And it has an old roof. It's probably 20 years old. And my contractor, you know, we're looking at what has to be done and everything. He goes, hey, you know, you're going to need a roof on this place. I said, wait a minute, does it leak? And it's like, no, it doesn't leak. I go, what do I need a roof for? Well, it's old. I go, yeah, so am I, but I'm not going to replace me, right? I mean, let's not get too rough on old things, okay? But I've had that roof on that house. It doesn't leak. And I've had that house out for 3 or 4 years. And I've collected enough rent to not only pay off the house, but to easily put a new roof on the house. So it would be my tenant that's going to put the roof on the house. The tenant doesn't care. The tenant cares that the house doesn't leak, right? In fact, the funny story is there was a leak around the chimney and she got her brother, which is a roofer, to go up with some tar and spread the tar on the roof.
That was it.
That was it. And it's been 2 more years, right? So if I can get 5 years out of an old roof, that's huge from a cash flow standpoint, right?
Carlos Gonzalez has a question. He says, I'm wondering, Bill, would you ever acquire a cash flowing mobile home that didn't come with land?
I'm looking at that now. It's tough to do that. There's a lot of things. If you don't control the land, you are vulnerable. Okay, so let me give you an instance, and we're working on this right now. The lot rent, right? So let's say you buy a trailer in somebody else's lot rent and it's $250 a month. Okay, what prevents them from raising that to $350 or $400? Right? Can you get them to give you a contract that will lock in that lot rent for 10 years? Probably not. But I would want that because I can't budget my investment if I've got this sword of Damocles hanging over my head, which is lot rent. Right? That's a vulnerability. Now, I have a guy right now that's told me he'll let me put all the trailers he wants into his park and he'll give me a 10-year fixed $200 a month lot rent. Okay, I can figure that out. It's a fixed expense, right? But there's the other problem is, what happens if after 10 years, he says, get your trailers out of my trailer park? Or he dies and his kids say, they don't like me. They want to get rid of this thing. They want to sell it to a developer because they're going to put condominiums on it or something. See, you've got to pay attention to what you control and don't control. That's the thing.
So follow up to that. He said, so you wouldn't do properties with an HOA?
I've never done a property with an HOA. I don't like HOAs, but think about it. The houses I'm buying, do they have HOAs? Little houses like this? No, they don't have HOAs. You know, so it's not even an issue, right? In fact,
control the line. That was an interesting.
Yes, I want to control. I want to control everything, right? I I want to have my four corners of what I control, or my LLC's control. So I don't have some strange stuff happen down the road that causes a problem, right? That's all it is. It's controlling what you're doing. And you know, contracts, yes. Can you get people to sign a contract? Yeah, but make sure it's bulletproof, and make sure that even if you sign a contract with them, they can't be like really nasty about it. You know, okay, you've got me locked in at $200 a month for this thing, but I'm going to let the sewers back up and your house is going to smell like a toilet for the next 10 years. Can I do anything about that? I can sue them, but that's not going to help, right? So again, yes, if you could control those variables, that would be how I would say put a trailer in somebody else's trailer park. I'll make it simpler. Just sell me the damn trailer park. And you can put trailers in my trailer park. How's that? Because I'm honest. I'll take care of you. I don't know about you. Okay. As I would say, as my mother would say, there's only two people in the world that I trust, you and me, and I'm not so sure about you. Anything else?
You guys gonna walk through?
You gonna walk around? Do I carry the microphone like Walter Cronkite? Okay, come on.
Bill Oehme News.
So this is Bill Oehme News, yeah. Okay, so again, nice double wide. So this thing has a living room and it has a family room with a fireplace, for God's sake. I'm not sure. It might be an electrical fireplace. It might be a gas fireplace. I don't know, right? And then you have the big open kitchen that goes into a laundry room over here. Okay, and again, there were crappy appliances in here, and the tenant says, I'll put my own appliances in. I don't have to buy appliances, right? I learned this from tenants where they'll put appliances in the property because, again, the value is in the possibility that they're going to end up owning it. That's what really matters, okay? So everything else is secondary. I don't think there's too much over here. But you can see the floor needs to be redone, right? It's got laminate flooring. This is old laminate flooring before it was waterproof. So what? Something leaked on it and the flooring's got to be taken up. But the tenant's like, hey, I'll take it up. I'll put vinyl, or I'll put new, what do they call that stuff? Luxury vinyl flooring that's waterproof. Whatever it is, right? But it's waterproof. The new generation of water of stuff. It's got central air and heat, but I'll bet they don't use the central air and heat. And just real quick, so we got one bedroom over here, and you guys, if you've ever had a mobile home, this is like standard mobile home carpet. This red purple stuff. They must make this stuff by like the million square foot out in Dalton, Georgia, because every trailer I've ever gotten, that's what comes standard. Okay, but I don't know if they'll put new carpet or if they'll just vacuum it up and clean it up. Don't know. Nope. Nope. Nobody wants me to do anything. Here's the third bedroom, right? So you got 3 bedrooms on one side with a bathroom. Right. And here's the nice thing about the bathroom. Check out that tub. You know what we like about that tub?
Is it porcelain?
No, we don't have porcelain tub. It's one piece.
Oh.
So it's a one-piece fiberglass tub. So you don't get water getting behind the grout line. Well, you don't have grout lines to try to get the mildew out. We love molded tubs because a molded tub will last, unless you break it, unless you hit it with a bat, it'll last 50 years, 60 years. So I love the molded tubs.
Good for hurricanes.
I guess if we don't have too many big hurricanes up here. I guess we can walk over here. So we got the living room, we got the family room. And again, it's about 1,600 square feet. And another nice thing is it's got what's called a split plan. And the split plan is you have the 3 bedrooms and a bathroom over one side, and you have the master bedroom and bathroom over here. So biggest bedroom, right? And this was stuff that was just left here by the last family. They just moved out and didn't care, right? And so I make it available to the tenant. It's not something that has to be hauled away. It's like, hey, this is a feature. This one comes furnished. What are you laughing at? Okay, and then there's the big bathroom. And this is great, right? It's got a shower and it's got the big tub, right? How cool? How
Do you
cool
want
is
to get
it?
in it?
No, I don't want to get in the tub. But you could see how, I mean, there's amenities. Is, a lot of times the tenants would rather have a house like this, even though it's considered modular home, than a brick house, because it's got more nice stuff, right? The brick house might be 50 years old, might not have a fireplace, might be damp in the wintertime, because 50-year-old houses, 60-year-old houses. But here it's like, wow, this stuff's pretty new. And
One week down there has a tub as well.
has a tub as well, right? So you have this big Roman tub. I mean,
In the master.
in a master.
And it has like a shower too.
Right. So this is classic in this type of building, but it's nice, right? It's nice. So anyway. So I know I'm sorry we're dragging everybody around here, but oh, there it is, baby. There it is. You found the sign.
I found the sign.
Cash flow, baby.
Cash flow, baby.
Yeah, that's all there is, guys. And I'm telling you, the thing I'm trying to get across is how much demand there is for this service. It is amazing. You know, I often, when people come to me and they say, oh, I'm trying to rent my house and I've been advertising it on Facebook and I've been advertising and it's been 3 months, 4 months. And I'm like, what? You should have that thing rented before you close. Okay. That's what you want. In fact, stand here.
Yeah, you can put it down.
Okay. But my ideal property is I already have a tenant lined up before I close on the property. I have it under contract. Tenant has already given me an option fee. And I walk into the closing, I grab the keys and I walk out and I hand the keys to the tenant. Here, there's your house. That's the ideal situation, right? But a lot of times people make it much more difficult than it has to be. Now, I don't know, if you live in an area that has some special like certificates of occupancy for properties, okay, well, you gotta do some stuff. There might be some things you have to do. But pay attention to what is important to the customer. Okay, not what you think is important. That's where it costs you a lot of money and it makes the tenant unhappy, right? So I think we were talking about it. I have a great story. You'll see it next Tuesday, but I put a $5,000 central air system in the house, right? And I'm driving by the house one day and there's a window right above the compressor. And there's a window unit sitting in the window right above the compressor. I mean, it's like 3 feet away. So I said, okay, I gotta knock on the door. So I knock on the door and the tenant says, oh yeah, it's really great that you put that in there, but it costs us $200 a month extra. We don't want to use it. So we bought an $88 at Bill's Dollar Store and we have an air conditioner. And I'm like, I spent $4,000 on that. Yeah, really sorry about that. We hate the thing. See, whose fault was that? Mine. It wasn't their fault. I didn't listen to what they were
You
saying.
didn't say, what do you
want to do about
this?
Right? The guy who came to me and when he was renting the house and he says, how are we going to heat this place? And I said, well, there's a furnace. The furnace is all rotted out. I guess I got to put an $1,800 furnace in there. And this is before I started doing this, right? And he says, I said, okay, well, $1,900. I'll get the furnace put in. He goes, is it gas? I said, yeah, they're all gas. He goes, I won't use it. And what do you mean you won't use it? He goes, I hate gas. I'm afraid of gas. I don't want to pay the money for gas. I go, so if I put $1,900 in this place, you're not even going to use it, it'll still be cold. He goes, well, I'm not going to be cold. He says, because I got 2 little space heaters from my last house, and that's I used to use. I put one in the bathroom, make sure it's got a ground fault isolation breaker, and then the other one I put in the bedroom. I only turn them on like 3 or 4 times a year because you're in Georgia. It doesn't go below freezing here, maybe 5, 6, 10 days a year, and it's 50 degrees by noon. So I said, okay, well, what do you want to do about it? He goes, well, I got one of those heaters already. He says, but I lost the other one in the move or something like that. And I said, well, what do you want to do about it? He says, well, would you pay for a space heater for me? And I said, yeah. I said, go to Walmart, buy the nicest space heater you can. I said, and then give me the receipt with the second month's rent, not first month's rent. You're gonna pay the full rent on the first month. But on the second month, give me that receipt, you can take that off of the bill. You know what, guys? He never gave me the receipt for it. He bought it and he didn't care. $1,900 furnace that would be rotting under the house, and he would have been happy. So many of those. I mean, but what do you want to do about it is not an original Bill Oehme. It's actually from Zig Ziglar. Okay, Zig Ziglar was, I think he's died now, but he was a great motivational speaker. And there's a story about a potbelly stove from Sears at the turn of the 20th century, where the potbelly stove blew up, and the guy called up Sears, and then Sears sent all their lawyers down and started telling them a million reasons why it was his fault and everything else. And finally, some smart guy at Sears, so wait a minute, well, what do you want to do about this? And the guy says, well, he said, oh, you fixed the heater. He said, you burned my carpet a little bit. He says, can I get one of those little throw rugs out of your catalog just to cover up the burn? The guy says, all you want is a little $1 throw rug. He goes, yeah. He says, the carpet's not worth that much to me, but it bothers me every time I see it. So he got one of his guys that were there, one of his lawyers, and they picked out a little thingy. I guess they Pony Expressed it. That was like in the old days, it would be like a FedEx overnight. And that's my problem. Because he asked the guy what he wanted to do about it.
I think they want you to pick the microphone up again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got the mic. Do I have to talk to it? Is that it's not getting loud enough? Is that the thing?
I think they heard an echo.
Oh.
I don't know if you listen.
Okay. So anyway, I want you guys to think like this. I want you guys to think about how much value you can create as a landlord. But you're not a landlord. What you really are is a value creation expert. Okay. The classes you're taking, the people you're hanging out with, the community that you have access to, it's going to change who you are. You're not going to be some flunky landlord that fights with his tenants all the time. Okay, that's not your destiny. So realize that and take advantage of it. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get across today. Is that it? We got everything we need? Yeah.
How many people have called you about wanting to rent this place?
Oh, 20, 25. In fact, my contractor has been working on the place for about a week. He says every day 2 or 3 people stop and say, is this place available?
Wow.
And he gives them my number. So everybody has my number, they can call me. And this is the other thing that I do, which is when people call me, first of all, they're put on a list in case the first guy doesn't work out, first person doesn't work out. But also, I give them the opportunity to go find me a property. So it's like, hey, you like this place? Go find me something like it, and I'll do the same thing with you. But you got to help me find the property. So get on social media, get on your social people, your church, tell everybody you're looking for a $20,000 property, SOS, 911, hurry, 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 got to have it, make a TikTok video, whatever you want to do. And then bring that lead to me. And I will buy the property, and then I will set you up with some sort of a rent to buy situation. So I take people that, and I learned this from my tenant. This is not me being smart. This is me just listening. So my tenants go out, and instead of them being victims, instead of them saying, oh, I couldn't find the property and everything's like, no, go find me a property. Go find me something that's off market. It can't have a real estate sign in front of it. It can't be on Zillow. Don't bring me crap that's on the internet. Okay. Find me something that I can buy at a discount, and then I will set you up. It's the simplest thing in the world. Now, I'll do that with 100 people. 90 of them will do nothing. Did it cost me anything? No. 10 of them will find me deals, and they won't be good deals. Didn't cost me anything. But 1 or 2 of them, you're going to find me a grand slam monster deal, and it's going to be theirs. See, I'm not just going to give them a bird dog fee. They're going to end up owning the property. That's the incentive. So you can turn half the county into your bird dogs because it's for them. And I'll give you something this is something I've done recently. Remember I talked about rents going up so much? I always ask people what they can afford for rent. So let's say Some people can afford $1,000 and some people can only afford $600. I don't tell the $600 people that I can't find anything for them. I tell them to go out and look for a property just the same as the $1,000 or the $1,200 candidates. And I tell them, look, even if you find something that should be rented for $1,000, I will give you a break. You get the property. In other words, you've got first dibs on the property. I'll even rent it to them for $600 a month for a certain amount of time because they brought me the deal. How much goodwill is that going to get me? How much karma is that going to help? It's huge, right? So now folks that are, they're in panic. They're running around. They're going, we can't afford any of these houses. I'm like, look, you don't have to. Find me a deal. Find me a deal, and you've hit the lottery if you find me a deal. And guys, it's unlimited. It's unlimited. Wherever you live, you could be doing the same thing. Yeah, just some of them, right? But what I'm trying to show you guys is the potential. I'm trying to show you about creating wealth instantly, right? And then creating cash flow for, it could be for decades. Okay, so, and look, come to the class on workshop on next Saturday. How many of you guys have spreadsheets that talk to spreadsheets to determine something's a good deal? Right? Present value of money, future value of money, percentage this, depreciation that, tax. Yeah, I used to have all that crap too. Guess what? I don't have any of that crap anymore. 3 questions. 1, how deep of a discount are you buying the property? That's simple. How deep? Because the deeper you buy it, not only do you create wealth instantly, but you're protected from some sort of catastrophic event like a recession, like a 2008. Okay, so your goal as an investor is to buy properties as deeply discounted as possible. Is that a good discount? That's a ridiculous discount. You're not going to find many like that. Now remember, I've been doing this for 20 years. But if you can buy a $60,000 house for 30 grand or 25 grand, then you've met that requirement. Okay. Now, given the amount you got to pay for the house, and this, remember, this is the cost of the house plus rework. Don't go and play games with the rework. Okay. All in. When I say $25,000 or $30,000, that means that's the money it takes to put a tenant into the house. Okay. So given that amount of money, how much cash flow will that generate? Because it's all about cash flow. While you're holding it, it's all about cash flow. So, okay, what ways can I generate cash flow? Well, I can do a normal rental. Could I do a short-term rental? Yeah, it's a little tough on these little houses because they're not candidates for short-term rentals. But be that as it may, could it be student housing? Could it be transitional housing? Could it be, I don't know, veterans housing? So how can I generate cash flow from that property? Okay. Those are the only 2 things that matter. And there's one other question. If you make it past those 2 questions, is there any reason I shouldn't buy this property? Okay. Because right now, if you get those 2 count, you're the smartest person in the room. But the question is, are you still the smartest person in the room, or did you miss something? Okay. So is there a reason why nobody else has bought this property? This is a spectacular deal. Is there radiation in the basement? Is there, I don't know, some sort of terrible foundation problem? Is there something is there lead-based paint all over the place? Is there asbestos? Is there, what's the other thing that everybody worries about?
Dead bodies.
Yeah, dead bodies. I bought a property one time where there was the guy killed himself in the property. And it's actually an interesting story. He was a criminal. He was a mayor of the city, and they were just about to throw him in jail. And he didn't kill himself in the house. He killed himself in his car in the backyard. And the first tenant that I rented to, she was all freaked out because there were ghosts. She knew there were ghosts. And I had to give her money back and everything else because she was, really upset about it. And I'm like, the house is like 100 years old. Probably somebody has died in this house over the last 100 years. But I didn't question it. Okay, so the 3 questions. How much of a discount are you buying it? Okay. Now, here's the amazing part, and you'll see this next Saturday. And I was thinking about this the other day. When you're starting out, you don't have to find a spectacular screaming deal. If you have enough cash flow, is time your friend or is time your enemy in the deal? It's your friend. So even if you were to not get the best deal, if you've got enough cash flow, after a couple of months or maybe a year, the cash flows bailed you out. You're in the green, you're good, right? So it's amazing. All of a sudden, time is your friend. So this is the amazing thing about cash flowing rentals is as long as you've got some amount of positive cash flow, time will bail you out, right? And so fix and flip's not like that. Fix and flip, if you don't do a good job on the beginning, you could get stung by the thing because every day you hold on to it, you're going to lose money. So all of this comes along. The other thing that's interesting is when we have inflation, what do you want to have when you have inflation? Do you want to have $100,000 in cash or do you want to have $100,000 in a house? You want to have a house, you want to have assets, because as the dollar goes down, the houses go up to compensate. If you have $100,000 in the bank right now, you're losing your butt. Okay. Okay, I have time for one more cool thing.
What was the third question?
Is there some reason why we don't want to buy this?
Or this is the reason not to buy this property.
Right, that's number 3. Number 2 is how much cash flow.
How much cash?
Okay, so you don't even care about the third one. Actually, that's why it's a waterfall. First question is, am I buying at a discount? Right?
Oh, yeah, okay. How deep is your discount?
How deep is your discount? How much cash? Now remember, what happens is you buy it at a deeper discount. By definition, you're getting better cash flow, right? So it's like everything gets better as you buy at a deeper discount. There's no substitute for buying at a discount. You create instant wealth. You can create millions of dollars of tax-free wealth if you never sell the properties. How can you do that with a job? You have to pay millions of dollars in taxes. So all of this stuff comes into play. This is what wealthy people do. They don't, this is a good one. This is a Bill Oehme original. Working people cash out. The average person is taught by the system that the end of an investment is when you cash out. Wealthy people know better. They cash flow. They cash flow. Okay, I'll give you an extreme example. Elon Musk, worth a couple $100 billion. When he needs money, he doesn't have to sell his stock and pay capital gains. He can get a loan against his stock. The bank will give him, Morgan Stanley will lend him $50 million at like 1%. So not only does he not have to pay taxes on that money, he can write the interest off. The interest is a write-off. I mean, it's understanding how the system works that most people are like, oh no, I just want to get more money out of my job. It's like, really? Okay, that's not what wealthy people do. Okay. So
Bezos does that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Right.
So if he loses $10 billion in the market last week,
I don't care.
It's not.
Doesn't matter.
Because he has that.
Okay. I got one more thing to show you guys. Remember I talked about cash flow, everything's cash flow? Okay. This house, what's this house worth? About 120,000, right? Okay. That's on an asset basis. That's what you've been taught to do. Okay. What do wealthy people base things on? Yeah. Cash flow, baby. What's this house worth on a cash flow basis?
Infinite.
Yeah, but let's look at that $1,100 a month. So let's say, I'm going to say $1,000 a month. That means you're going to make $12,000 a year on this property consistently. Okay. So if you want to make $12,000 a year with money in the bank right now, how much money do you need in the bank? I'm going to do this because I'm holding the microphone. Okay, I'm going to do it right here. So if you're going to make 1%, what are you making in the bank? 1%? Okay. So if you have $12,000 a year and you divide that by the interest rate, you get $1.2 million. What that says is you would have to have $1.2 million in cash. I don't know how you're going to get it. in the bank to pull $12,000 a year out and spend it on your life? Which is easier for you to get? 1.2 million in cash or a little house for $4 grand? You see how outrageous this is,
That's powerful.
right? And most people, they don't even realize. They think, oh, it's a little rental house, and I'm gonna have to deal with tenants and all that crap. It's like, how long do you have to work to make $1.2 million?
Your grandchild.
Right? And it gets better. Because in inflation, if inflation's 5%, this is going down by $60,000 a year. Just the privilege of you sticking the money in the bank at Wells Fargo, my favorite criminal enterprise. Okay? Been indicted for fraud more than any company I've ever heard of, but be that as it may. So if you just have the cash, if you save the cash, you're going to lose $60,000 in purchasing power. Oh, did I mention you're going to pay interest? You're going to get taxed on the interest. You see how absurd this is? But here, this property, if the dollar goes down by 50%, the property will go up by 50%. Will the rents go up if we have inflation? Yeah, well, sure. Yeah. Yeah, so you want to have real assets if you're going to have inflation. You don't want to have money. So people say cash is king. Cash flow is king. Cash is not king. You want to get that cash into something that is going to be protected from inflation. And it ain't this, but this is what we're taught to chase, right? So on a cash flowing basis, a little house that you can pick up for $4,000 is worth $1.2 million in cash flow. I don't know how to, if that's not worth a boom, then I got the best I got. Okay? I'm giving you the best I got. But do you see how powerful it is? That's the point. Okay? We need anything else? Have I given everybody a tour? We good? We good today?
No more questions.
No more questions?
So
Okay, I'll tell you what your question is. Here, come to the thing on 12/18/21. What do we call it? Extreme cash flowing houses or something?
Yes.
Okay, come to the workshop. It's going to be live in Atlanta. If you can come live, come live. Debbie's making me buy pizza for everybody.
And dessert.
Oh my God. And dessert.
I'm gonna help you with some of the dessert.
Okay, thank you. Because I got to do more work, and I got to buy lunch for everybody. I don't know what's in this for me. I gotta do it. Okay. Yes, and there's also a class for novice. It's called Teaming Up with Tenants for Bigger Cash Flow. Is it in the bonus section? Or
It
in-
is.
Okay,
It's
so if you wanna see
invaluable.
it, you're going to see incredible stories about little rental houses. Okay, so it's guys. I mean, do what you want. I don't know how you can make more wealth and more money than what we're talking about here today. Not without taking a tremendous amount of risk. So, anyway, yes. Anything else? That's it. Oh, there it is. That's my picture. You should have a picture with the bling. You have a picture wearing the bling. Okay, and for you guys that haven't gotten into the Renatus community, what are you waiting for?
Right.
I mean, really, Candy tells me 94% of the millionaires in this country do it through real estate.
Bank rate, put it out.
Bank rate.
2020.
Okay, I used to say it was 90% because that's what I had a little sticker. So it's 94%. I don't know what's the next 6% here. Are you good enough to be the other 6%? Are you like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos? If you're not, get with the 94%. Get started. Okay? Because I'm telling you guys, the people that don't have assets, when this inflation really starts rocking, they're going to be just decimated. I mean, you're going to have that money in the bank that, oh, we're going to show you how that you can set up a retirement account using this philosophy that you'll never run out of money. Right now, if you have $1 million in your retirement account, which is almost impossible to do, you're going to go broke. Chances are you will go broke before you die. I can't think of a worse scenario. So
Mm-mm.
come and we're gonna talk about this so that you don't have to worry about it. You could live to be 185 years old if you want to have one.
And this will be live and
Live
on
and
Zoom.
online.
And we bought some equipment to make the online
You
experience
guys are gonna make it great.
amazing.
It's gonna be wonderful. Right? What are you laughing at? No, but really,
Just smack him, Bill.
you guys that are guests, you gotta pay attention to what's going on here, okay? Get out of all this, was it a scam? And then real estate deal. Get over that crap. Okay, look, go through it, then get over it. And don't ask your broke brother living in the basement smoking dope, don't ask him what he thinks about real estate, because he don't know anything. Okay? I mean, everybody's got a broke brother living in the basement in the mom's house, right? You know what I mean? Come on. Isn't it great when you ask people, you ask broke people, well, what do you think about this? It's a scam. You're sleeping in your car. What do you know about anything? Right? No, really, guys. I mean, there's no crime in real estate. Okay? But I'm trying to make the point. What are you waiting for?
Let's
Oh
do
my
it.
God.
I'm inspired.
Okay. That's it. That's all I got. That's what that.
Guys, thanks for joining us online. We'll see you next week, live or online.
Yep. But you don't get any pizza. It's online. You
No,
gotta be there live.
No,
Nope.
any cookies.
Oh, no virtual cookies. That's it.
All right.
Okay, great, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.